There we go. We're on now. All right, Ruth chapter 4. Finishing up the story of Ruth, the picture of Christ. And I'm glad for His love and His mercy. We've been going through Sunday school, the promises of God and the things we can cling to. And I'm glad the Bible says He'll never leave us and He'll never forsake us. And I'm glad in Romans chapter 5, verse 8, it says, all things work together for good to them who are called and they are loved according to His purpose. I'm glad today there's some promises we can cling to. You know why? Because life gets hard. Does life get hard for you? Is life easy for you? If it is, let me know how. Let me figure that out. Life's hard every day. All right, things happen. I always tell people with pastor, and you're one phone call away from chaos. People always call the pastor when things are going wrong, when things are going bad. No, I don't get too many phone calls or text messages when things go good. It's usually when things are bad. It's like calling the cops, all right? You don't call the cops saying, hey, guess what, I want you to have a great day, but guess what? You call the cops saying, hey, there's a man on my road. They don't need to be here. I'm glad today he's always there. Ruth chapter 4, this morning, you can just stay seated. We'll read the whole chapter. And kind of the thought this morning is to do right, to step up, to turn around, and God's not done. We'll find these this morning in the Bible. Verse 1 says, then went Boaz up to the gate, and he sat down there, and behold, the kinsman of whom Boaz spake came by, unto whom he said, oh, such a one. He says, turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside and he sat down. Notice this, and he said he took 10 men, the elders of the city, and said, sit ye down here. And they sat down. And he said unto this kinsman, Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, she selleth a parcel of land, which was our brother Elimelech. Then, and he said, and I thought to advertise thee, saying, buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people, and if thou wilt redeem it, redeem it. But if thou wilt not redeem it, then tell me that I may know. Listen to what he says, for there is none to redeem it besides thee. And I am after thee. And he said, I will redeem it. Then said Boaz, what day that thou buyest the field and of the handmaid of Naomi, and thou must buy it also of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. Verse 6, and the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar my own inheritance. He said, if I buy this, guess what? I'll lose my inheritance. I like what I have. So if I buy hers, guess what? Mine goes away. Redeem thou my right for myself, for I cannot redeem it. Now this was the manner in a former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing. For to confirm all things, it says a man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor. And this was a testimony in Israel. So therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, buy it for thee. So he drew off his shoe. And Boaz said unto the elders and unto all the people, ye are witnesses this day, that I have bought all that was Elimelech's, and all that was Chilion's and Mahlon's, and the hand of Naomi. Remember, those were Ruth's husband and her children there. So moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon of his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren. And from the gate of this place ye are witnesses this day. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. See, the Lord make the woman that has come to thine house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel. It says, do thou worthily and Ephratah and be famous in Bethlehem, and let thy house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Judah, of the seed which the Lord shall give thee his young woman. Let's look at verse 13. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife, and when he went unto her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. So why is this important? Why did the Bible put this in here? Let's see. And the woman said unto Naomi, Blessed be the Lord, which hath not left thee this day without a kinsman. We start off in Ruth, right? We start off at the beginning of Ruth. Naomi and Elimelech, they went to Moab. They thought it was better because there was famine. And then we see Elimelech died, and then Chilion and Milon, they died. And then we see them, Ruth and them got up, packed up, and went back to Bethlehem. So this book starts off with the death. This book starts off with funerals. But we see here it finishes with praise. Some more, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Eli, purchased to be my wife, raised up the name of the dead. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, We are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come to thine house, like Rachel and Leah, which two did bid the house of Israel, and do thou worthy this Ephratah and famous in Bethlehem. And like thy house, be like the house of Pharez and Tamar, and bear unto Judah, and the seed which the Lord shall give. Boaz took Ruth. She was his wife, and when he went unto her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. See, this woman said unto Naomi, Blessed be the Lord, which hath not left the day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel. And he shall be unto thee a restorer of thy life, and a nourisher of thine old age, for thy daughter-in-law, which loveth thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons, hath borne him. See, Naomi took this child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse unto it. So when her neighbors gave it a name, saying, There is a son born to Naomi, they called his name Obed. They called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. Now notice these generations. Now these are the generation of Pharez. Pharez begot Hezron, and Hezron begot Ram, and Ram begot Amminadab, and Amminadab begot Nahshon, and Nahshon begot Salmon, and Salmon begot Boaz, and Boaz begot Obed. Obed begot Jesse, and Jesse begot David. How many of y'all know about David? Right? Tony's been teaching about David's life. David, listen to this, David would never have been around. David would never existed without Ruth and Boaz. We see this is a picture of Christ. This morning we see here, you can still, here's kind of the title, God can still give you a happy ending. God can still give you a happy ending. We see our life doesn't always have to unfold the way we dream. Sometimes we dream of death, we dream of relationships crumble, we dream of our finances collapse, health weakens, family fractures. See, Naomi and Ruth, we can feel hurt, hopeless, and hollow. Far from what we hope life would be. How many of you older folks, you look back in your life and say, man, I can't believe how I got to where I'm at. All right, I love coming over here and meeting with these ladies on Tuesdays and listen to their stories about this area, about the change, about the community, about how they grew up and how much different life was then than it is now. But I bet you if you ask them if you could do it all over again, would you change anything? I would say someone said, no, I liked how my life turned out. God's given me a good life. God's been faithful in my life. What a testimony. That's encouragement to me. See, Ruth chapter 4 reminds us that God still works, even when we cannot see His hand. hear His voice, or feel His presence. See, He's the God of reversal. He's the God of renewals. He's the God of redemption. You know this whole book of Ruth, you know what the theme of it is? Grace. This whole book of Ruth, the theme of it is grace. We see grace that called her. We see His grace that converted her. It was grace that continued her. Grace. We find grace through this whole book. Psalms chapter 30, verse 5, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. One day, when we take our last breath down here, one day when our life's over here and we get to spend eternity with Jesus Christ, we sing that song, what a day that will be. I'm longing for home. Paul said in our Wednesday night, if I die, Christ. Or if I live, Christ. If I die, is gain. He knew this wasn't his home. One day we get to meet our Savior. See, Ruth begins with 3 funerals, but ends with a baby cry and a nation's king. See, your story isn't final until God writes the last chapter. God's not done with you till you take your last breath. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Keep going on. There's still a lot of work to do. The harvest isn't all. It says the harvest is white. Everything's ready to reap. We still got people that need to be saved. You see, the first point this morning is obedience in the ordinary. We find this in the first 4 verses. We see here, do right. Do right. We see here, Boaz obeyed God's word before God worked wonders. We see here, he handled life God's way and not his way. I learned in college the definition of wisdom. Doing the right thing, the right way, at the right time. That's what wisdom is. How many of y'all got wisdom? Anybody? Anybody want to share some wisdom with me? You see here, we see Boaz, he chose the right process. So what do you mean, Brother Chris? He says, then went up Boaz to the gate, and in verse 1, he went up to the gate and he set him down there. So why is that important? See, Boaz didn't run around trying to do things the wrong way. He went to the gate. This gate was a public legal center. This gate was where the businesses were confirmed. It said there in the elders of the city. The elders were these chief. They were the important men in the city. They were really the rulers of the land. He went to them. He went to the man in charge. You know, it's the same thing in church. When people get mad, you know what they do? They go telling everybody else. They start telling everybody else how mad they are and how bad they are instead of going to the man in charge. So going to the pastor, going to the preacher, and instead of going to God, they want to complain about it. We see he did it the right way. There's some times you just got to do it the right way. Boaz didn't rush, he didn't scheme, he didn't force results. He trusted the correct procedure and not a clever manipulation. What happens in church, you know why the reason church is split? Because some people get mad and they don't do it the right way. They go behind everybody else's back and they cause chaos, they cause confusion, and they get everybody else on board. And then the pitchforks come out. Boaz did it the right way. There's always the right way. He waited for the near kinsman. He didn't plot to get rid of him. He followed God. Following God includes following God's ordained order. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, it said, let all things be done decently and in order. Let all things be done decently and in order. There's a process. How many of y'all work for a company? All right, most of y'all work for a company. What's the process? If you get mad, what do? You go tell your boss, then your boss go tells his boss, and then whoever all the way up to the chain of command, right? My wife's a school teacher. If a parent gets mad, don't like the way she does things, you know what they should do? They should go talk to the teacher. But you know what happens today when people get mad? You know what they do? They go put it on Facebook. They go call their buddy. They call their neighbor. Guess what? She's not doing what she's supposed to do. Guess what? We're going to have a appointment. We're going to go meet with the superintendent. We're going to bypass the school and we're going to go talk to the person in charge. See, everything needs to be done decently and in order. See, he did it the right way. Right steps must be taken in the right spirit and in the right setting. Knowing that, he carried the right principles. He did it the right way, and he did it with the right principle. It says he took 10 men of the elders and said, "Sit ye down here." So Boaz, he brought witnesses, showing honesty, transparency, accountability. He did the right way with the right people. He knew who was in charge. He knew who could make the differences. He knew who made the laws. So he had nothing to hide and nothing to twist. You know what the issue is when you get mad and you tell your friend? Well, you tell your friend something, and your friend gets mad, and then that friend calls and tells somebody else their story, and then that person goes and tells somebody else their story. You know, that story, by the time it gets back to who's they're mad at, it's a completely story than what started. See, he carried the right principles. He had nothing to hide. Unlike many biblical examples of manipulation, Jacob, Absalom, and Ahab, we see God always honors integrity. You know what that integrity means? It's who you are when no one else is around. The just man walketh in integrity. He provides things honest in the sight of all men. See, integrity is doing the right thing even when no one's watching, especially when everyone is watching. On that, he cherished the right priorities. Boaz, he cared more about pleasing God than profiting himself. Jesus said, "For what shall a man profit if he should gain the whole world, but he lose his own soul?" Last week, we preached on pride. He didn't know I was preaching on this morning. This is a great. What do you say? We're doing along real well out there. All right, bunch of smiling faces this morning. All right. He said, "I'm too far in to quit now." All right, that's all I'm going to tell you. All right, we're too far in this to turn back. He cherished the right priorities. See, Boaz wasn't driven by possession or his position or his popularity or a personal benefit. He honored family. He honored faithfulness. He honored responsibility. On that, he honored God himself, his covenant, God's covenant. See, God-pleasing priorities lead to God-provided prosperity. You please God, and God will take care of you. So he cherished the right priorities. Secondly, we see this. His responsibility in real life. So we see he did the right thing, all right? You do right. Secondly, we see here, he stepped up. He did right, and he stepped up. His responsibility and real love. See, the real biblical love, it always includes weight and work. See this refusal scene. He said, "I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar my own inheritance." One guy said, "Hey, I can't. If I buy her inheritance, that means mine's gone, and I like mine a lot." You had to make that decision. You really like something, but guess what? You had to get rid of something that you liked to get something else. See, this nearest kinsman could, but would not. It was a will problem, not a wallet problem. He could afford it. But he wanted the land, but not the lady. We see the assets, but not the assignment. You know what he feared? He feared loss instead of fearing God. He feared the loss instead of he feared God. Romans chapter 3, there's no fear of God before their eyes. See, many accept Christ's benefits, but we reject Christian burdens. Let me ask you this. How many of y'all want to go to heaven? All right? How many of y'all got saved just because you wanted to go to heaven? All right? You ever thought about that? We get saved. Why do we get saved? So we don't have to go to hell, right? But you know what? When you become a Christian, your responsibilities change. Your burdens should change. See, we look where the Redeemer stands. Then said Boaz. What did Boaz say? Boaz said, I will redeem it. He said, I'll take it. I'll take it and I'll take care. Boaz said yes when no one said no, when everyone said no. He stepped into this difficulty, but he didn't step away from it. He knew the responsibilities that laid at hand. He was willing to sacrifice some things. You know why? Because he loved her. When you love something, guess what? You'll put that as priority. You're willing to make sacrifices. There's people out there that love the world more than they do God. You know why? Because the world will trump the things of God. The things of the world will interfere. It can't interfere with church things. You know why? Because I love those things. Where he's standing at this morning. So this points us to Christ, who said, Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me, the Son of Man came to give his life for ransom for many. Jesus came down here. You know why? Because he loved us. He died this morning. He died because he loved us. See, true love runs towards responsibility and not away from it. Then we see the relationship sealed, the relationship sealed. Look at verse 10. We see here he says this. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren. And from the gate of this place ye are witnesses this day. We see here the word purchase is this legal language. It's not ownership of a person, but it's an assumption of a covenant of responsibility. You know, when you got married, you stood up here at a church somewhere before God, and you made a covenant. I have a paper over there, our marriage certificate, with witnesses signed. I'm legally bonded to this lady down here. I also wear a ring, not because I want to. Some of y'all say we wear it because we have to, right? If I didn't wear this ring, how many of y'all know I wasn't married if you didn't know her? All right? This ring signifies I'm taken. That paper over signifies we are bonded through marriage. You ever thought about this when a lady gets married? You know what happens? She gets a new name. Her name changes. She takes my name. One day, when God comes down and gets us, you know when you get saved, you get a new name. Christian. When you get saved, when God comes in your life, there's new things. See, love is proven not in emotion, but in enduring action. We've been married now for a long time. Feels like a long time, all right? But I love her today more now than I did when we first got married. Now, we dated for 2 or 3 years. I did that so she could see who I was going to be. A lot of times when we get married, over time, we forget. You know, we should never stop dating our spouse. If you don't go on dates with your spouse, that's something you need to do. We're always learning with each other. You may say, I've been married for so long, I can tell you exactly what they're going to do when they do it. That's great. But there's new things I find every day that I've never noticed before, that she does. There's probably new things I do every day that aggravate her, that she forgets. All right? Love is proven. It's not an emotion, but it's enduring action. Not only that, we see here, do right, step up, turn around. Turn around. We see this reversal of the reunion. Her past was tragic. She was a widow. She was poor. She was a Moabite outsider. She had no children. She had no security. She was in a land where she didn't have family. No one knew her. See, the town once said, "Is this Naomi?" Implying pity, implying shock, and implying sorrow. But you know what? I'm glad that your past does not disqualify you from God's future. Well, we could go around here and we can tell our testimony of our past. I'm glad my past doesn't have to, I'm glad my future doesn't hold on. My past could change anything. We're all wicked, right? The Bible says, for all have sinned. We've all come short of the glory of God. We all got a past. You know what? Guess what good thing about the past is? It's the past. The past is the past. Don't dwell on the past. You can't go forward if you still dwell on the past. See, her past looked tragic. But look at her present was transformed. Verse 13 says this. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife, and when he went into her, and the Lord gave her conception, she bare a son. Who gave her that child? God. Because He's faithful. God's faithful. See, God opened a womb that was previously empty. God changed her identity. God changed her destiny. God changed her security. And God changed her legacy. How many here has He done that to you? He changed my identity. He changed my destiny. I got a new name written in heaven. I'm glad it's mine. He changed my security. No, John chapter 10, nobody can pluck me out of the Father's hand. Where protection, there's a promise there. He changed my legacy. Notice this. If you don't get anything out this morning, try to remember this. You can write it down. What God touches, He transforms. What God touches, He transforms. We look at Jesus in the Bible. When people met Jesus, they never left Him the same way that they found Him. Have you met Jesus today? Said, Brother Chris, my life's in shambles. My life's in mess. My life is awful. It's nothing but depression. It's nothing but anxiety. It's nothing but I need help. I don't know how to get through this week. When's the last time you met Jesus? When's the last time you handed it all to Him? See, her praise was testified. Blessed be the Lord, for thy daughter-in-law which loveth thee is better to thee than 7 sons. See, these verses here are talking about Obed and not Boaz. And you know what his son Obed, you know what that word Obed means? Servant. Obed it means servant. We see this the same town that once watched Naomi's sorrow now worships joy. We see God can turn public shame into a public testimony. See, God, when He restores, everyone will know it and who did it. Has God changed your life today? Are you going to let God change your life? Are you going to give Him full responsibility? See, a plan beyond perception. God's not done. He's not done. We see this hidden fortune as we close. We see nothing in Ruth's early life looked promising, yet God was quietly composing it. He knew exactly where she needed to be. He knew exactly where she needed to go. What looks like survival to you may be sovereign to God. Look at the Israelites. They're out in the wilderness for 40 years wandering, thinking, am I ever going to get to the promised land? Am I ever going to make it there? You know, there's some that started that journey probably never made it there. Look at this historic family. that came out of two that were faithful. See, God placed a Moabite woman in a messianic line. Grace did what the law could never do. See, Obed was David's great-grandfather. If we look through here, we see our heavenly future. Close with this. The book of Ruth reminds us that God is never finished with His children. Even when we feel life shattered, we feel like it's silent or it's senseless. We see Naomi thought her life was over. Ruth thought her future was gone, and Boaz likely never imagined how God would use his quiet obedience. Yet God was working in every step. God was working in every sacrifice. God was working in every sorrow. See, Ruth chapter 1 began with graves and goodbyes, but Ruth chapter 4 ends with a cradle and a Redeemer's genealogy. What looked like a dead end was really God's doorway. This morning, I don't know where you're at with your walk with Christ or with your relationship. I want to give you some promises here that we can hold on to. Here's some truths we need to remember. When you can't see God's hand, trust His heart. When life feels ordinary, stay obedient. When others walk away, stay responsible. When your story looks ruined, remember God can reverse it. When you can't understand the chapter, trust the author. Trust the author. Look back in our life when we get old, or maybe one day at our funeral we sit around and we can tell stories about people that passed away. How's your story going to end? I tell you, I like how my story ended. He was a faithful servant. That's why I want people to recognize me. He was just a faithful servant. He was just a faithful servant. He loved God, and he was a faithful servant. That's what I want to be known for. That's what I want to be recognized for. He loved God, and he was a faithful servant. I can say those things now. But you know what? There's got to be truths in that. There's got to be examples in that. I got to live the life that says that. Love God when no one else loves you. That's hard. Love God when everything else fails. Stay faithful. You know what faithfulness is? Just being obedient. Doing the right things the right way for the right reason. That's how you can have wisdom. The right things the right way for the right reason. If you want to be smart today, see, Boaz did things the right way. You know why? For the right reason. See, just as God worked through a simple obedience, sacrificial love, sovereign planning, He's still weaving stories that take time, take tears, take trust. Above all, Boaz points us to Christ, our greater Redeemer, who stepped in when no one else could. He said these things, "Fear not, I will redeem." He paid the price, sealed the covenant, took the responsibility, offers us a new beginning. Not because we deserve it, because He is full of grace and truth. This morning, maybe you feel like Naomi, bitter, broken, and empty. Maybe you feel like Ruth, foreign, forgotten, failed. Or maybe you're like Boaz. You're waiting, you're working, and you're wandering. Where do you fall under those people? So your story isn't finished. Your chapter's not final. I'm glad God's not done. Who's that guy on the radio? The rest of the story, all right? So, Brother Chris, I'm old. I can't do nothing. I can't do the things I used to. Guess what? Your story's not done. We need some people to pray for this place. Pray for our people. Pray for protection. Pray for God to move. You can call and encourage people. Say, hey, I missed you last week. Hey, I missed you. I love you. No one's forgotten about you around here. Hey, I'm rooting for you. You know what? We need a few cheerleaders to help us to push on through this journey. We need some encouragement to keep going forth for the ministry. Your chapter's not done. Today, walk with these three things of faith. I will trust in God's timing. I will follow God's word. And I believe God can rewrite my story. Because God can still give a happy ending. Imagine Ruth. Ask Ruth. Man, could you imagine one day Ruth, she lost her husband. She lost her family. She moved to a place she's never been before. Say, hey, guess what? Stay faithful. God's going to give you another husband. God's going to give you a son named Obed. And guess what? Obed's going to have a great grandson named David. That's going to be a king. She's thinking, you're crazy. Why would he do that for me? To stay faithful. So you do right. Step up. Turn around. And God's not done. I don't know where you're at this morning, those points. Do the right thing. Stand up when no one else stands. Turn to God. God can change your position. God can change your path. You know why? Because He's not done. He's not done this morning. As we stand, I'll get a song together. Everyone stand and bow.